Friends, this is Sayyad Reshma Sharif. Today, the video is about an interesting topic, that is about Titanic. This is a name RMS Titanic. It was a large ship afloat at a time she entered service at the second of third Olympic class ocean liner. This ship was White Star operated by a White Star Line. She was built by Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast. Thomas Andrew, the chief naval architect of the shipyard. He also died in this disaster. Titanic was under the command of Captain Edward Smith. He is the captain of this Titanic, who went down with the ship. The ocean liner carried some of the wealthiest people in the world, as well as hundreds of emigrants from Great Britain, Ireland, as well as Scandinavia, who went throughout the Europe were seeking a new life in United States and Canada. The first class accommodation was designed to be the pinnacle of comfort and luxury, with a gymnasium, swimming pools, libraries, high-class restaurants and opulent cabins. A high-powered radio telegraph transmitter was available for sending passengers macronograms. And for the ship operational use, Titanic has advanced safety features such as watertight compartments and remotely activated watertight doors, contributing to its reputation as an unsinkable. It was equipped with 16 lifeboat davits. Each is capable of lowering 3 lifeboats for a total of 48 boats. She carried only 20 lifeboats, 4 of which were collapsible and provided hard to launch while she was sinking. Collapsible, a nearly swamped and was filled with a foot of water until risk. Together, the 20 lifeboats could hold 1,178 people, about half the number of passengers on board, and one-third of the number of passengers the ship could have carried at full capacity, consistent with the maritime safety regulations of the era. The name Titanic derives from the Titans of Greek mythology. Built in Belfast, Ireland, in the United Kingdoms of Great Britain and Ireland, the RMS Titanic was the second of the 3 Olympic-class ocean liners. The first was RMS Olympic and third was the HMHS Britannic. Britannic was originally to be called Gigantic and was to be over 1,000 feet 300 meters long. They were by far the largest vessels of British shipping company White Star Line, which comprised 29 steamers and tenders in 1912. 3 ships had their genesis in discussion in May 1907 between the White Star Line and chairman Bruce Ismay and American financier J.P. Morgan, who controlled the White Star Line's parent corporation, the International Merchantline Marine. On 29 July 1908, Harland and Wolff presented the drawing to J. Bruce Ismay and the other White Star Line executives. Ismay approved the design and signed 3 letters of agreement 2 days later, authorizing the start of construction. At this point, the first step, which was later to become Olympic, had no name, but was referred to simply as number 400. As it was Harland and Wolff 400 hull, Titanic was based on a revised version of same design and was given the number 401. The dimensions and layout. Titanic was 882 feet 9 inches. It means 269.06 meters long with a maximum breadth of 92 feet 6 inches. Her total height measured from the base of the Nile to the top of the bridge was 104 feet. She measured 46,328 gross registered tons and with the draught of 34 feet inches 10.54 meters. She displaced 52,310 tons. All the three of Olympic class ships has 10 decks, excluding the top of officers' quarters, 8 of which were for passenger use, from top to bottom. Here there are so many number of decks. There are the boat deck. On the lifeboats were housed and early hours of 15th April 1912, the Titanic lifeboats were lowered into the northern Atlantic. A deck, it is also called as a promenade deck, extended along entire 546 feet length of superstructure. It was reversed exclusively for first class passengers and contained first class cabins. The first class long smoke room, reading and writing rooms and palm court, etc. B deck, a bridge, it was a top weight bearing deck. C deck, it was the highest deck run uninterrupted from stem to stern. D deck, it is a saloon deck which was dominated three large public rooms, first class reception room, first class dining saloon and second class dining saloon. E deck, the upper deck, it was prominently used for passengers accommodation for all three classes. F deck, it is a middle deck. This led completely deck mainly accomplished second and third classes passengers. G deck, it is a lower deck. Completely these as portholes just above the waterline. The squash court was located here along with the travelling post office with letters, parcels were stored here. The overlook decks and the tank top below were on the lowest level of the ship, below the waterline. The overlook decks was used as cargo spaces while the tank top, the inner bottom of the ship's hull provided the platform on which the ship boilers, engines, turbines and electrical generators were housed. This was the Atlantic crossing. Titanic was planned to arrive at New York on the morning of 17th April. After leaving Queenstown, Titanic followed the Irish coast as far as Fastnet Rock, a distance from some 55 natural miles. Distance from 55 nautical miles, 63 miles, 102 kilometers from the. There she travelled 1620 nautical miles along a great circle route across the North Atlantic to reach a spot in the ocean known as the Corner. At 11:40 p.m. ship time on 14th April, lookout Frederick Fleet spotted an iceberg immediately ahead of Titanic and alerted the bridge. First Officer William Murdoch ordered the ship to be steered around the obstacle and the engines to be reversed. But it was too late. The starboard It was too late. But the starboard sides of Titanic struck the icebergs, creating a series of holes below the waterline. The hull was not punctured by the iceberg, but rather dented, such as the hull seams buckled and separated, allowing water to rush in. 5 of the ship's watertight and compartments were breached. It soon becomes clear that ship was doomed, as she could not survive more than 4 compartments being flooded. Titanic began sinking bow first, which was spilling from compartment to compartment as her angle in the water becomes steeper. Those aboard Titanic were ill prepared for such an emergency. In accordance with an acceptance practice of time, As ships were seen as largely unsinkable and lifeboats were intended to transfer passengers nearly by risk vessels. Titanic only had enough lifeboats to carry out half of those on board. If the ship had carried her full complement of about 3,309 passengers and crew, only about a third could have been accommodated in the lifeboats. The crew has not been trained adequately in carrying out evacuation. The officers did not know how many could safely put aboard the lifeboats and launched, many of them barely half full. Third class passengers were largely left to fend for themselves, causing many of them become trapped below decks as the ship filled with water. The women and children first protocol was generally followed when loading the lifeboats, and most of the male passengers and crew were left aboard. In 2022, an author and expert of Titanic argued it was not true that women and children things survived thanks to the glanity of men, that last survivors escaping on the final lifeboats leaving the starboard side of the ship. He said the majority were men. However, women and children survived at the rate about 75% and 50% respectively, while only 20% of men survived. Between 2:10 to 2:15 am, a little over 2.5 hours after Titanic sank, the iceberg, her rate of sinking suddenly increases as the boat deck dipped under water and the sea poured in through open hatches and grates. As her unsupported stern rose out of the water, exposing the propeller, the ship broke in two main pieces between the second and third funnels. Due to the immense force and kneel with the bow underwater and the air trapped in the stern. This is very tragic incidents over years. Only few of them were held into lifeboats, so the lifeboats had room for almost 500 more people. About 710 people survived the disasters and were conveyed by Carpathia to New York, the Titanic original destination, while at least 1,500 people died. Carpathia captain described the places as an ice field that has included 20 large icebergs measuring up to 200 feet 61 meter height and numerous small bergs, as well as ice floes and debris from Titanic. Passengers described being in the middle of the vast wide plain of ice studded with icebergs. The area is now known as Iceberg Alley. These are the pics after sinking of a Titanic. It was very saddest and shock photos and images. This is the pic of Titanic after several years. Thank you for your watching, my dear friends. For more videos, please subscribe my channel.